So what do you guys say? Here's what happened on your exam. How do I feel? How do I feel?
Pretty good.
Pretty good? Tell me why. I'm going to take these off because I've almost eaten crap 3 times already today. Because, go ahead, be brave, be brave. Megan, go ahead. Ignore this for a moment. We'll come back to that. We'll come back to that.
Well, is the histogram the same, or is it just
The histogram is the same as that. The thing up top is called a box plot. We haven't talked about that yet, but that represents actually a nice graphical construct of what we're studying right now in class. We'll get into that. Exactly, Q1, Q2, and Q3. We didn't do box plots together in class yet, right? I don't think we talked about it. But some of you have seen them before, it sounds like. Go ahead, Hattie.
The mostest was an A.
Good. Well, if you think about the mode, now this is interesting. I like this a lot. The average, I call this mu. You guys have been talking about X bar for average an awful lot, right? X bar, X bar, X bar. That's a sample average. I call you guys my population. So I call you guys mu, because you're my population. So I can call you the Greek letter mu. Your average is a 37. You look at it and you're like, that sucks. 37. Well, it does, but you got to remember, there are a few zeros in there. People, for whatever reason, did not take this exam. I think you had like 3 or 4 people that I have not heard from since like day 2. And they're in that average. Right? They're in that average. So then I recalculate the average using a 5% trim, just like you guys did in your Excel project. And the average is still 37, meaning there are so many of them, even with a 5% trim, they're still pulling the average down. That makes me question if I should even look at these 3 numbers. That's the population standard deviation of you guys. That makes it look like your grades are all over the place, doesn't it? It makes it look like your grades are all over the place. And then I look at the skew. Remember Hildebrand?
Great skew.
It's a great skew for you guys, isn't it? It's highly negative, which means your average is way left of your median, which means the data is way right of the average, which on a test score means good.
Yeah.
On average, the data is, look at the data, it's way over here. Here's 46. Here's 41. That's a huge chunk of you guys. I can't use empirical rules on this thing. I can't use empirical rules because there's no bell curve. It's a highly skewed distribution. This always happens. I told you this was going to happen. I hate saying that, I told you this was going to happen. But I told you this was going to happen. This always happens. And I know stat students, they hand in their exams and like, oh my god, I sucked at that. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. It's just, you didn't. So I know this is going to happen. That's why I like looking at the median and the mode more. Because they're more indicative of what's actually going on. They're more indicative of what's actually going on. Because they're not swayed by those goofy outlier data points. The question that gave you guys the most grief was the last question, the German class question. I took some quick statistics on that, and I kept track. Half of you got the entire thing correct. Half of you got it half correct. Roughly half of you. So almost everybody in the class got that question at least partially correct. Only 4% of you missed the entire thing, which I think was 1 or 2 people out of the entire, I guess 1 person out of the entire class. And that's okay. Like, that's the thing. That's the thing. I'm not pointing fingers. I'm just saying that. Statistically, this is what happened. I like doing that. I like doing that for any question on an exam where a sizable chunk of people are either A, visibly upset by it, or B, statistically, I notice something's off. I grade everything 1 question at a time. I'll also grade your take-homes 1 question at a time, just to see if anything throws people for loops. And if it throws people for loops, I make adjustments or I analyze. So when I heard a bunch of you saying, we don't like this problem, I'm like, oh, let's go look at that again. So what I did do, and this might not help you guys at all, it might not. I went and made a bunch of videos for the problems in the homework that were related to that German problem. I think the problem was a lot of you didn't make the connection between that problem and the homework problems that were related to it. There were like E2, E3, E4, E1. There were like 5 or 6 of them, or 3 or 4 of them. So I went back this weekend over Sunday and recorded about 30 minutes worth of video for those particular questions. I fear that you knew what to do, you just didn't know how to do it. Does that make sense? Like you read that question and had no idea that it was actually tied to something you had seen before. So I did some extra videos, if that might help you to go back and look at them. I did some with Excel, I did some with algebra, so you can pick and choose whatever ones you want to look at. But anyway, this doesn't make me upset. If they were reversed, and only 4% of you had gotten both of them right, then I'd be like, I gotta throw the question out and give you a different question to do or something. But it didn't work out that way. Fair? The box plot we'll get back to. Basically, somebody already said it, was Natalie said it. It's showing you the quartiles in like 2-dimensional form, right? So here's your lower quartile, median, and upper quartile. So your median 41, upper quartile 46. Again, I'm very happy about that. We'll come back to this. But that means 25% of the class got between a 46 and a 52. 25% of you got between a 41 and a 46. 25% between a 31 and a 41, and 25% between a 0 and a 31. I like that a lot because it shows where the variation of 14, where it's heavily centered. There's a lot of variation down here, isn't there? And not a whole lot up here. And again, you can see that in the histograms. The histogram is tightly clustered on the right side and then it tails off to the left. Indicative of a lot of variation left and not much variation right. Does that make sense? So that's what I look at. I look at all this stuff. I know, how many of you guys have ever had an instructor come back and give you the class average after an exam? You couple of you had that, right? Good, you should see that. Did they ever give you the standard deviations and stuff like that too? Or just the average? Good! I'm seeing, who is it? Just, I've got to know. Moody. Yes, he would. He's a stat genius. I love that guy. But that, you should look at all those things as well as other measures in case you get skew like this. That's why it's so important to look at the shapes of these things. We'll look at more of that today in class. I also want to share with you something else. Some of those numbers are going to change. And here's why. Yes! Yes. So I will make a better link to this, I promise. I think today when I get out of total fill, I'll go do it. But if you go to the schedule page, let me fire it up for you. Remember how there's a rainy day project coupon? Some of you know about that. That's the rule. Oops, I just lost the whole link. Oh, that'll work. I'm in Google. So right now, the only place the link really is obvious is in week 3. I'll make a much better link. I'll put a link up top here. I'll put a link up here so you can see it much better. But the rainy day coupons that you guys may have seen before, there is already one for projects. This buys you 24 hours in case you forget to turn a project in on time. So I think there's one due next week. So if you walk in on whatever day that's due and you hand it to me, or you don't hand it to me because you forgot to do it, you can print that out and turn it in one day late, no penalty. Right now, I don't think anybody, maybe 1 or 2 of you have used it. It's worth 5 points if you don't use it, 5 extra credit points. So a bunch of you on your progress reports have seen you see extra points at the bottom and there's a rainy day box with 5 in it. That's because you still have those 5 points sitting in there, adding to your overall point total. Okay, but these guys down here are for the in-class parts of the exam you just took and the one you'll take in a couple weeks. And what it allows you to do is to correct up to 5 points on that in-class part and resubmit it on Thursday to me and get those points back. So what it is 10% of the in-class part. There's none for the out-of-class part because hopefully there's no pressure on this. The idea of this was you take plenty of time, you work with each other. How many of you guys work together on the out-of-class? Good, 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 good. The entire front of the room, interesting. How many worked individually? The entire back of the room? Yeah, the entire back of the room. How many of you use the tutoring center? Only a couple of you. Okay, okay. Internet resources? Good. This is what I want. I want that to have all pressure removed. You guys used everything. That was good. Yeah. All pressure removed. But I understand that the in-class stuff necessarily makes us feel pressure because it's a math test. Although now you've seen what a Sean math test looks like, and hopefully it's not quite as terrifying as your normal algebra test. But still, there's pressure. There's that time element. So this hopefully takes a little bit of that off and lets you go back, look at it again, correct, resubmit, and get points back as if you never lost them in the first place. That's the idea. It's as if there's no penalty for using it. This isn't worth anything unless you use it. So anybody that got a 50, I apologize, you can't use it. But if you even lost 1 point, get the point back. You need 2 points, get the 2 points back. If you lost 10, you can get 5 back. You can get more than 5 back. But anybody got a perfect score, we can't give you any points. Does that make sense? Also, just read the whole thing carefully. There's a very specific thing. Amber likes to grade these because since she gets paid hourly, and she loves reading what you guys have to say. And there is a component of this that you have to say something. It's not just fixing numbers and handing them back in. There's a couple little sentences you have to write down here about what you did wrong the first time and what you learned by doing it again. And let me emphasize this because Amber is extraordinarily efficient. The corrections have to be correct. I had to add that line 3 years ago because somebody turned in a bunch of wrong answers and demanded points. And I said, well, it's not right. They said, it doesn't have to be right. I said, it says corrections. They said, yes, but you didn't find corrections. I'm like, you are a brilliant statistician. Here's your points. Look at the hell out of my face. And let me add the line, the corrections must be correct. So that's the key. And if you turn it back incorrect, Amber will make a note. I'll hand it back to you and make you do it again until you get it turned into me the right way. You see what I'm getting at? But make sure you do all this stuff. Make sure you do all this stuff to get the points back. Even if it's only 1 point, get that 1 point back. So the idea of this and the out of class is that now this test, if you will, spans more than 10% of the entire course. You started taking it last Thursday. You turned in this part today. You'll turn in this part again next Thursday, or this coming Thursday. That's a week of the term. That's 10% of the term. Why? Because I'm a bastard. I don't want you to stop thinking about this stuff. I want to keep it fresh in your mind. Make sense? So we'll bring that for next time. I think there's a quiz for next time too. And I have another idea for an alternate quiz. I don't know if I'm going to get it posted by Thursday, but if I do, I'll make it extended out Thursday or the following week as well. It was a fun one I thought about on the way up the hill. It's kind of related, but it's kind of related more to the question that was giving you guys grief. Anyway, we'll see if I get another quiz up for you guys. Cool? Any questions on this? If anybody has a question about their particular exam, just grab me at the break and we'll talk about it, okay? I want to give you all the time that you need individually, but I have to view it as averages. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. I have to look at things in terms of averages like this. FYI, that's you guys. There's the other class. The other 243 who had the same assessment you guys did. Notice any similarities? Just making anybody nauseous. See, very similar, huh? I would argue the same exact results. Statistically the same. Same shape of the data, same goofy outlier, same goofy outliers down here. You guys may have had one or two more zeros than them, but honestly, look at the skew. Now the percentages are kind of different on their class versus your class, which is interesting. I mean, I don't know if it's measurably significant or not, but there's a lot of similarities between that and also 105. There's 105. Yeah. I'm gonna box the whisker with no whisker. Yeah. Anyway, we'll get into that today. So everybody understands what's going on for rainy day corrections? Any general questions about the exam you want to throw out for the class? Like I said, specifics, come see me at the break and we'll get you squared away. But specifics, or general right now. Oh, that's it. Good? Good. I'll throw something out at you not related to class directly. Upstairs, right after this, is an open house with a new math department. If you guys want to swing up and see, we used to be in Pioneer Hall. Some of you guys might know that. And we moved in and we took over upstairs Grandview this year. This is our first year up there. We're having an open house, I think it's split and stuff like that directly upstairs. So after class, you're going to wander up there and check out what we've got going on. I put a bunch of math puzzles on the board, which you can ignore. Just check out where we live up there. Come see the office. If you've ever been to my office, you can come find it. See where I live. Pretty much live. Yeah. Anyway, so that's that.
How many points was the take-home work?
Same as the in-class, 50. Yeah, so what I'll do is on your next progress report, I'll send a progress report out hopefully this week, the end of Thursday maybe, where you have the entire thing together and then you have it at 100% grade in your progress report. So you'll actually see what it adds up to. And that's why I don't want you guys looking at the average up there going, oh my God, it was 37 out of 50, that's a 74. Because if I double it, it's 74. Yeah, if you double it, that assumes you did exactly the same on that as you did on the in-class part. Which you didn't do, correct? I'm sure you kicked ass on this, anecdotally, because you guys always do kick ass on the out-of-class part, plus you're going to add 5 points to the in-class part. You guys don't look like you're happy about that. I'm talking anecdotally, I'm telling you this because you should be. I'm going historically. You guys fit the mold perfectly. You fit the trend of every class I've ever given these. I don't give the same assessment every year, but I give similar assessments over similar topics. I get new data sets, new questions, but you guys always perform trend line-wise the same. And that's why I'm smiling from year to year, because you guys crushed. I mean, on average. I'm thinking of averages, of course. I feel bad about the people I haven't seen in 3 weeks because they have zeros and I need to get them out of my class, but on average, you guys crushed. Yeah? Cool? You alright? We're doing alright? It's week 5. Kind of looks like week 5. You guys are alright. Plus it's cold as hell outside, which doesn't make anybody happy. Alright.